and welcome to another episode of the Complete Agent Podcast, where each week we get together to talk all things estate agency. As ever, I am joined by my colleagues in the industry, Mr. James Kendall, Mr. Ian Storey. Lads, how has your week been? Ian Storey.
Thanks. Well, hello, everyone. I've not been on for 3 weeks. I'm sure the last 2 weeks pods have been horrendous, I would imagine. Viewing numbers dropped and stuff. But anyway.
Last week was the best week ever, actually.
Have you not listened? Have you not listened to it then? You're not
No, of course not. No, I never listened to them. No. Only when I'm on. So this week's been good. It's been a bit of a fun week, really. I mean, there's a couple of sales and listings, obviously, that are important, but we were also contacted about a month ago by Porsche, the local Porsche dealership, who have seen what we've done on social media recently. We've ramped that up, and they've offered us a car, basically, to use on shoots. So they had this new amazing 911 in, and they said, do you want to come and get it for a couple of days and go and film some houses with it? Which is exactly what we've done. And the weather has been amazing. So it couldn't have been better timing. We did it on Tuesday morning at 3 amazing houses that we've got on the market. And one of them is actually already sold. Took the 911 round, did some amazing photographs, amazing video. And they want us to get those on our socials, and then we'll share them with them on their socials as well. So that's brilliant. So I've had a really good couple of days. And it's just been, reaffirmed that all the hard work has been worth it, and positioning the brand how we have. Just amazing to get a company like Porsche contacting us out of the blue.
Yeah,
so that's
that is incredible. I don't think you can understate that. Like, I do think we should give you your flowers on that. Like, that is incredible. Like, to quote you, incredible. That Porsche, like actual Porsche. Like, there's a lot of agents that have used nice cars in their videos before, but they've approached the dealership. But Porsche have approached Storeys and said, you know what, we're going to wrap a Porsche screen for Storeys, give it to you, and you can use it in a video.
Exactly.
That may not all be true, but
not quite true, but you're close. Although I did get there, and they had printed out some Storeys, like fake number plates to use on the driveway. They were like,
nice.
"Oh, we've just done these for you to use," and I was like, "Oh, amazing! Thank you so much." So I had proper imposter syndrome driving away, but really good. Obviously, great for the team to see that as well. To see how we've done what we've done. So really, really good. On top of that, 4 good listings so far this week, 3 in the gold dust range. From sort of 700 to $1 million. Matt's listed a really nice one, just over $1 million. So some really good listings. 3 or 4 sales so far since last week as well. Pipeline's good. Yeah, spring is here, I think. So really, all good, lads, from my end. How about you, JK?
Thank you, Ian. Last month was a good month, actually, to be fair. We actually got approached by Hyundai to... no, I'm joking, we didn't really. No, we didn't.
But the Tucson? Did they give you a Tucson?
No, Dave's driving that. Dave's driving that. Because Dave's car's broken down. We'll pray for Dave. Anyway, so last month was a good month. We did a really good amount of sales. A couple fell through, but obviously, again, it's par for course, isn't it? Some good listings as well this week. So just signed up one at 925, took it off another agent. It was on at $1 million. Tried to get him on offers over 9, but he wouldn't go for it, unfortunately. One just launched at 525 again. It does grate me when we can't get him on a price point, but sometimes, when you get in the listing and you're taking it, bearing in mind, other people have said 575, like trying to, the thing is as well, I'm quoting double the fee, and it's sometimes it's 50 grand less than the other agent said, like 10% less, but going with offers over. I'm really trying to get it down to get people through the door, and using the price to entice strategy, and it can be quite difficult because you are up against it. But then, so we've got that coming on. We've got Richard's got one coming on at 800. We've just staged a house. I put it in the TCA group as well. So client was on with another agent at 425. House was going nowhere. Has emigrated. He needs to sell it. So we've got a combination of our home styling team and a staging company that we've worked with before to come in, fully stage the house. We've reduced the price. So not only are they paying a premium fee, but they've also invested £3,000, I think it was £3,500, in furniture for the staging, and obviously upfront marketing fees as well, and reduce the price by 50k. And the proof's in the pudding. We've already had inquiries on it, and it looks great. And what a great test case that is going to be when that comes off. Another one that we're just getting ready to launch at offers over £1 million. Sold one this week as well. We've had on the market for a little while at sort of 750. Bricksmith, we've got a couple of bits and pieces going on with that. Our premium lettings business. So we've had a couple of off-market inquiries. Hannah went to go and see one the other day. We think it's probably going to launch at about $5,500-6,000 a month. We may have someone for already. We've got one already in the back pocket that's not quite ready yet. It's going to be another 3-4 months. That's going to be coming on at $10,000 a month, all in, and that's got a swimming pool, like gardens, the whole lot. So that will look really, really mint. What else have we got? We've got one tomorrow. Actually, she's going to where it's a 4-bed detached, but it's really nice. I mean, it's going to be 2.5, I think, a month. So that seems to be going. It's slow, but it's not slow really, because I think there's a lot of lettings businesses that would bite your arm off for what I've just talked about in the first sort of month of launching, or month and a half of launching. But it's you know what it's like. We're all impatient. I want to be managing 55 $10,000 a month houses already. So it is what it is. But Hannah's doing great. I'm really enjoying the process of building it. The finance company, I should hear about sign off as well this week for FCA. But we've actually got a couple of bits and pieces bubbling on that already, with my business partner on that. So that's also equally exciting. But yeah, so in a nutshell, in a really long, convoluted way, it's been a good week and good last month. How about you, David? How's your car?
Do we have to talk about my car? It's so depressing, honestly. So yeah, basically, for those that are interested, I am selling.
Move on.
I've ordered a new car, and my existing car is about to be sold. And in the 2 weeks that it's going to be sold, the power steering fails, and it costs £3,000 to fix. 3,000, amazing. So apart from that, lads, the week's been okay. Yeah, plenty of vals. We sat on. Well, we launched a few this week actually. We've launched at, I can't remember because I've not got anything in front of me. So that's a good story. But there's some really good houses that we've launched this week. We've got. I've been to two take-ons this week. One at 750, one at 700. I like to call those the Gold Dust range. Really nice houses on good theme.
That.
Got another one coming on at 1.4 million. That'll probably be next week. Another one launching today. Actually, it's 700,000. And one off-market listing that we did quite a while ago. I think he's almost ready. That is £3 million, which is a very, very nice house. Been to a cracking valuation last week as well. Sent you pictures of it, around 2 million, and sits in about 5 or 6 acres of land. Nice big 4,500 square foot house. Love those. So that's beautiful, nice one. And I had a really good conversation with someone yesterday, actually, who has seen the house that I've sold on their road at 2.5 mil, and theirs is around 3 million, and it's a really nice house. Yeah, beautiful house, very modern, got a swimming pool, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, all in all, really good. Offers are fantastic, lads. But as I think I alluded to it a couple of weeks ago, saying it's taking longer to negotiate and get things over the line. People are being very picky and stubborn, but they are now coming in nicely. So mentioned before we came on the pod, my longest running property, the one that I've had the longest, is about 14 months. Very, very, very unique home. Great relationship with the owners, testament to the team, really. Communication's been great. Obviously, marketing looks good. They're happy. Probably been holding out for a little bit too much money, as is all often the case. But with market conditions picking up, their patience and a little bit of persuasion, we got them to a price point that we felt fit. And that has gone under offer as well this week. So I'm really pleased about that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 offers negotiating at the moment, which should all go, with a little bit of tweaking, maybe take 1 or 2 out of there just in case, but good place, lads, really. Quite good. I just need to get myself some help, as you know, on the valuation side. That's another big thing for me at the moment. But apart from that, pretty much all good. And I think you're feeling it as well, but the market's good. It has been really good this first quarter. So can't have any complaints. Have you felt that as well, JK?
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that has taken a while seems to be selling now, to be honest. So the sale that we've agreed this month has been, well, again, I think I talked about the other day about how our attrition rate is so low. I think I did a live in the Facebook group about that. That was the actual Facebook group and not my business page. But I did now Ian did a great live the other day about attrition rate in the group, and again, that's testament to those sellers that I've kept on board and sort of spoken to. I mean, we've been on for about a year now, and totally for transparency, I got it wrong in the beginning. I got the val wrong. Well, I say I got the val wrong. I misread the data on it, and it was a 3-story home. The data suggested it might be more like 800. The reality was it's more like 750, and that's eventually what it sold for. But we've gone through the journey, we've gone through the process, we've managed the price down to a level where the market seems to think it's about right. We've now agreed a deal, and I think that is testament to the market. So one little tip for the podcast here, for if you guys are needing sales, go back to your withdrawn stock. Anything that came on or came off with you 2 or 3 years ago, especially if you've got a good relationship with it, get it back on. If they still like to move, get it back on now, because I did this in our office. I went to see a client yesterday. Struggled to sell previously at 850. They've done some bits and pieces to the house. They are keen to move, and hopefully when they come back on offers over 8, they're just deciding when and when they want to do it, when and where they want to do it. Just waiting for the flowers to come out a bit more, because it's got a really lovely garden there. But it's just a case of getting it right. But I just think the market's in better shape. Looking at the data from where we were on the market in November 23 compared to where we are now, the market's in much better shape, and there's a big gap in the market. It's that sort of where I am, between 750 and 9. There's not an awful lot available. It's either available at 3, 4, 500, or it's like 9 million plus. So that kind of mid-range premium family home at sort of 800-900, there is a real lack of stock there. So a little tip for you guys, if you are listening to this and you've got withdrawn properties from the last 12, 24, 36 months, well worth going back to those and seeing if they want to try again, because now just might be the time you sell it.
I think you can send a try again letter as well, can't you? Basically, try and get in their heads about things and educate them about the market conditions. Because
also on Rightmove Plus, go on Rightmove Plus for other agent stock that aren't keeping in contact with their withdrawn sales. I mean, obviously, a lot of the stuff we keep in touch with is naturally by we've got WhatsApp groups, so sometimes we'll drop people a message. But the other thing is they're still getting our quarterly market updates as well. So in their eyes, we're still keeping them up to date with what's going on every quarter. But what you can do is go on Rightmove Plus and then go on 2022 to say, well, maybe 2023 to 2024 within a certain area, and look for all the stuff that was withdrawn from the market that hasn't got a transacted price underneath it, and then get the address and write to those properties that were with other agents, and see if again people are interested in trying again.
Yeah, we've done that as well ourselves recently. Letters to stock that wasn't with us, actually. That withdrew. And we're going to do that more. And then absolutely for stuff that we've had on in the past. And the WhatsApp groups are so good for that. They're so good for that, because you can just drop a little gentle WhatsApp, into the group, and people feel obliged to reply, if they've read it quite often. So WhatsApp groups are great for going back to old stock and old clients.
Yeah, just keeping in touch with people is important, and because again, don't want to take this and say, actually no, it's a great phrase. Actually, I'm going to say this is gold dust. Actually, when it comes to that, and they're not gold dust listings, but if you keep in contact with it, it's money left on the table. You spend that time and energy on marketing. Now could be the time to relaunch it and get it back to the market, and hopefully get a deal agreed and get it across the line.
Yeah, do you know what, JK? Just to interrupt, sorry. Sometimes you need to remind sellers that you're there and you've got their photos. Like, how many times in the past, maybe not so much with Stories now, and probably not the same with YouTube, but how many times in the past have you seen something go on with another agent that you had on that didn't sell?
Yeah.
You think, well, hang on, why didn't you ring us? You've got to remind them to ring you.
Well, the thing is, they also might be thinking, well, they've forgotten about us, so they don't give a damn about us anyway.
Or they see something to sell with someone else that they want to buy, you know?
Yeah.
And they're talking. You do have to remind. I mean, obviously, the noms are great for that, aren't they? Because you keep in touch with them anyway. Your market update video sent out as a WhatsApp link that we now do every time is brilliant because that goes to everyone. So there's different ways of doing it. You don't have to consciously do it all the time, do you?
No, I love your market updates. So, like, again, that's something that we've got on our radar that we really want to do. Again, it's our next hire. Really, is probably a videographer of some sort. But that or an ops manager, but we'll see. So the spring statement sort of kind of came and went. Wasn't really an awful lot to kind of go through, really. There was obviously an 11% transaction rise in 2025, but a lot of that was, again, down to the stamp duty holiday in that first sort of Q1 last year. The bank rate forecast is at 3.4%. Sorry, not 3.5%, 3.4% by 26-27. And then I think the supply crunch is coming. Is sort of 220,000 net additions this year. Landlord disposals seem like they're slowing down. So, I mean, stock levels seem to be fairly good. I mean, it feels fairly balanced out there right now, certainly where I am. But I think the biggest thing that stands out for all of it, which again could spell trouble in the long run, is the unemployment rate. So it's risen to 5.3%. They think that's where it's going to peak, which they would say. But we were just talking about off air when we were discussing it, that what effect, AI is coming at such a progressive rate, and things are constantly changing. And we were just saying about how AI is going to, possibly create even more job losses with things like call centers. But I also think, the discussion we were having around how I feel like the more, again, we haven't discussed this part, but I feel sometimes when I go on I don't use social media a lot, right? But I use it for business. But I really feel like I can't be asked anymore with it a lot of the time because all the people, there's no meaningful conversation that seems to go on anymore. I feel like I'm talking to AI. There's a lot of people on Facebook that replying to comments, and as soon as you see that great big long M dash in a comment, well, you didn't write this, did you?
Yeah.
They've literally copied and pasted your message, put it into ChatGPT, and gone respond articulately to this message, and then it's gone. Ah, yes, great point. This isn't this; it's this M dash. And social media just seems to be full of it. Like LinkedIn, I is where I tend to hang out a lot more. And I feel like LinkedIn is a lot more personable. I don't feel like it's as AI filled as say Facebook and places like that are. Some of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of with like estate agency wise, I'm seeing so much AI slop just on there where people don't have an opinion. And I almost feel like somebody will put an actual post together and you can tell they've written it themselves, and somebody else will comment on it and go into a ridiculous level of detail on that comment that no one would ever do, and you can tell that it's AI slop. And the way that the world's going, and I put myself in this camp, the more, and I love tech, that, you take the piss out of me because I'm the tech guy and I'm a nerd. I like the technology, but the more that we go tech and the more that we go AI, the more I kind of crave human interaction.
Yeah, I agree.
And human and human sort of, I suppose, chat and opinion and discussion. And I think that is where the mid to upper end of the market in estate agency, and I think in life is what's going to thrive out of AI. People will use AI to enable their businesses. So, for example, if somebody makes an inquiry on Rightmove, this is how it's going to go in general in the next 3 years. To be honest, it won't even be 3 years. It will be 18 months. But you know how slow agents are to adopt tech. In the next 3 years, all inquiries will be auto-responded to and qualified via an AI immediately. You know, what are you looking for? What are you doing? People will begin to search more natively on AI. You've only got to look at Rightmove's share price tanking because of all the AI integration and investment they've done. And, you know, you look at Halo by Home Search, you know, people are beginning to search now on AI for everything, not just homes, everything. You know, they'll ask the AI a question. I'm going to such and such location, but I want to stop off for a Starbucks on the way. Where plan this route for me. And people are also going into, you know, again, to relate it back to agency. I want a 3-bedroom house on 2 acres with easy access to this, and this. I need to get into London by this time. Recommend me and search for some properties. And AI is going to put all that together. And that's great. That part of AI I love, because the monotonous, like, searching low value administrative part of jobs and agency is where it should thrive. Where it lacks is, put it into context. If you're buying a 2-bedroom flat above the chip shop for an investment, you really probably don't give a stuff whether you're dealing with an AI or whether you're dealing with a human, because it's commoditized, and everything that is commoditized is going to be mopped up by AI. However, if you're buying a £2 million, £3 million, arguably an £800,000 family home, your forever family home, do you want to negotiate with a robot and deal with a robot? Or would you rather deal with somebody that has real life experience of living and breathing agency, knows the area, and can have that human interaction with you? What's your thoughts, lads?
Completely agree.
What do you say then, Ian? Sorry.
I said, I completely agree.
I agree as well.
That's it. Let's move on.
That's the podcast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
No, listen, the one thing that I picked up on there, JK, was the slop that you see on Facebook and stuff now. It's just painful. Not so much, I think, people, like, so in our industry, like, if you're advertising properties, then you need a bit of an advertisement for your home or something like that, you know, fine, you know, describing it in a certain way, whatever. It's more the authenticity that has been lost, in my opinion. There's just too much crap. I think you almost have to make a spelling mistake for people to think that it might be real. And you can see the ones that are a mile off, the ones that are trying to sort of probe, and, you know, the clickbait stuff. There used to be a time, I think, when you'd get an email through that would make you think, you know, like James Cleary, that sort of email that comes through, and you'd read it all, the short form, and there's so many people adopting it now, and I don't know, it just frustrates me. But I think a little old-fashioned as well. Sorry, just with AI, I'd love to live in a world again, I think, where I didn't have a mobile phone.
Take us back to the 90s.
Yeah, I think there's a gap in the market for someone to build a street where you've actually got a Blockbuster Video.
Yeah, pub on the corner.
Arcades and an old-fashioned cinema, and when you walk through your phone just doesn't work.
Yeah,
and the phone boxes and stuff like that. If you lose your mates, you've got to go and find them rather than ring them. But you know, the world is changing. The world is changing, and you've got to adapt. And just going back a few steps, I think looking at the spring budget, the
statement.
The spring statement. It's saying stuff that isn't massively changing. There's no massive headlines there that make you think, all right, okay, that's going to make some major changes to the property industry. But I think there's some warning signs. And like the unemployment rate is higher than it's been. I think it was something like 6 years or something like that. I think that will rise before the end of the year. Of course, they're going to say these things, but the emergence of AI and things like call centers and stuff like that, it is going to have an impact. And if unemployment rates start to rise, then I think that could obviously have a negative impact on certain things. And obviously, the war, the conflict in the Middle East, all that sort of stuff, it is likely to affect energy prices. It's going to affect inflation. It will probably lead to higher interest rates at some point, potentially. And if energy bills go up and the overall cost of living goes up, that will affect the property market. So right now, it's great. We've got lower interest rates. We've got plenty of buyers out there. Inflation has been a bit lower. So all these things point towards a good market, and I think that's what we're feeling in this first quarter. It's been a really good start to the year. It just remains to be seen how it will pan out. But things like the spring statement, it's important, I believe, as an estate agent, that you understand it and you can articulate it to your clients so that you can set them up. Especially, let's just say you've got some sticky stock at the moment. If someone's been on the market for a little while and they're holding off reducing their home or something like that, we've talked a lot about especially understanding your local market. If you're in a falling market and you stay on the same price, what a disaster that could be if you don't move with the times. This sort of thing is the same. It might be that your home has only been on the market for 8 to 10, 12 weeks. Did speak to your homeowners? What did you make of the spring statement? Do you know much about the spring statement? Have you seen what it's saying? These are my thoughts on what could potentially happen and how it could affect property prices in the coming months. Do we want to wait and chance it? So I think there's a lot to take from it, but nothing. There's nothing major that stands out that says, right, this is a problem. But I think there are a few warning signs there. So we're in a good market right now, but articulating that and understanding it. And if it ends up being a great market all year round, fantastic. But there's no harm, definitely no harm, in articulating what's happened and maybe just plugging it out there to your clients to say this is what's been said, this is what could happen, this is what couldn't happen. It remains to be seen. We just need to be aware of it, keep on top of it, and I think everybody will appreciate that.
Did you lads listen to the pod last week? I bet you didn't, did you?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You didn't. So me and Sam Hunter had a great chat, and one of the things that came up was about Fred Harrison. Have you heard of Fred Harrison? The guy, basically the economist that came up with the 18-year property cycle.
Yeah, because you spoke about it a few weeks ago, JK.
Yeah. So it was interesting. Like, I had a chat with our favourite data person recently, and if you adjust actually for,
I just love Chris Watkin.
He does. He's yeah. What do we call him? Watsy. Cheers, Watsy. Simon Watkins. So me and Cy Watkins had a chat, and we we were talking about how if you actually adjust for inflation and what house prices have done, there's actually already been a correction in between. And also Fred Harrison's prediction doesn't actually take into account COVID. Because for Fred Harrison to be correct, prices need to rise 15% this year before they crash next year. He also doesn't take into account MMR as well. So there's no one getting 125% mortgages anymore. So I can't see it. And I think the correction has already happened. And it's been coming up in our sort of seller meetings or listing presentations or whatever you want to call them, where we've got people on the market already, and we're trying to obviously, tell them to get a bit more realistic on price if it's not moving. But also equally those that we're going to see fresh. So I went to see a lady the other day, and they get the quarterly market updates. They've had a couple of on markets. It's literally up the road from my office, and it was on the market at 1.25. And it went nowhere. It's the one I put in the group, actually. You saw the one where I put the drone in the group, where they were like, "Oh, we do video as well." Yeah. And it was just, to be honest, cover your little ears if you've got little ears in the car, but it was complete dog shit. It was awful. It's not in the same league. So it's overpriced and undermarketed. And I went through the data with them. This lady wants to downsize, lost her husband. Her son was there as well. And they said, look, we're aware of your company. We know that you sell the upper end. We tried to sell it with somebody that we knew, but unfortunately, they're not really that well equipped. So I have got it all sort of lined up and ready. I'm waiting for them to sign. But the point is, it was on at 1.25. The data suggested it's much more like a mil, like 980. So
Okay.
But anyway, we were going through the data. Anyway, that is just so powerful. And I said, look, the market suggests that the maximum someone's going to be prepared to pay for this is about 980, £1 million. So we need to be offers over £1 million, not 1.25, because Insanity is doing the same thing as before and expecting a different result.
Who came up with that one?
Einstein.
Oh, Einstein, yeah.
I won't take credit for that one. That guy was that guy's Well, so what? JK came up with that one. We'll take that. But that's where the data is so powerful. Being able to articulate that data, that is just where it is so powerful, and that's where instructions are won and lost. Yeah,
you're right, JK. It's all about demonstrating that data at the start, isn't it? When you first meet them. I know we've been through this like a million times, but it's absolutely vital to do it from the start, because you rely on it so much, don't you, further down the line, especially if things go wrong.
Yeah,
I think at the moment, lads, with the data, you have to kind of make some predictions as well. It's so important that you look at what has been happening, of course, but you've also got to look at the trajectory of what is happening, and factor in so little things like this spring statement and the recent budget and all that sort of stuff. You can make, no one can predict what's going to happen, but you can make sort of an educational suggestion and prediction. There's so many people out there at the moment that want too much money for their houses, and you will take them on sometimes and they will just sit, and it'll be a waste of yours and their time. But I think that there's people that will just take them on anyway.
Yeah.
But the education needs to be there, I think. We've all got them, lads. We've all had houses that have started life at silly amounts that maybe would have looked right at the time. And as I've said many a times, you don't know until you put it out there how the market's going to react. And then it's down to you to educate the client and for the client to be motivated enough within that market to get it to a place where it needs to be in order to sell. I spoke to you about one before we came on air that started life, I think it was 12% more than what it's going to sell for. But all the data at that time backed it up. And the agent valuations that they had 3 when I was one of them. The other 2 were quite considerably higher than what I had suggested at that point in time. So at the point in time, I felt I was right. It appears that I'm wrong. But am I wrong? It's the market that dictates that. And it's only ever worth as much as someone's prepared to pay. So as long as you've given an honest assessment using the data available to you, you can't really beat yourself up too much. You've just got to be educating people about what the market's doing. But right now, again, it's similar in a lot of areas, but there's a few of our key areas that are falling or that have been showing signs of falling over the last 3 and 6 months. Certainly that's what the data's showing. But often it's too late, isn't it? Once you've looked at the land registry data, it's always a little bit behind. So you have to take an educational guess at it and look at what the market's actually doing. So I do think, again, JK, you've spoken about it before, trying to get on that price point below, that is the market that you're in right now. We've got one coming on next week. It's in the gold dust range. Market value on that house is 500, no doubt. But she is really motivated to sell. She gets it. She's actually buying something else through us where she's paying 50 grand over list price. So she gets the strategy, and we're going on at 475 on that house.
Nice. Sold.
Yeah, it's 2% fee. It's 475. It will sell in a heartbeat. And it will probably go for more than 475 because there'll be 2 or 3 people on it. And it's how you articulate that and get people to buy into it. It's so important. But the data is the basis for it all. If you can go in and demonstrate why you are saying what you are saying, and then show, obviously test cases are important, so how it's worked for you before. That's very, very important. Not just saying it, showing it, the circumstances. But if you can demonstrate that and show what the market's doing, you will win more than you'll lose, I think.
I think the data valuation, just to cap off on that, it separates you and helps you win business as well, because everyone else is using best price guides and going, it feels like this. And some of the lines that you've come out with in the past are gold dust in terms of how to position your way from you're not valuing it, you become the trusted advisor in terms of how you position what the price and what the market is doing. When someone comes in the living room, talks about aggregated inflation, talks about interest rates, talks about the OBR forecast, all of this, it's not, the person you're speaking to isn't necessarily going to understand everything that you're saying, and it's how you articulate it to them. But what you're doing is you're showing them you're an expert without telling them you're an expert. You're not saying we're open 24 hours a week, 7 days, fucking whatever. You're saying, you're showing, you're not telling people, you're showing people that you know what you're on about. But also it helps you get it on at the right price and backs up your valuation. So, we sell a lot of unique homes, and and that is one thing when you can walk through the door with confidence, because people go, it's unique, there's nothing to compare this to. And I actually address that immediately and say, look, we sell a lot of unique homes, and yes, as a result, there is nothing to compare it to. However, we take a data-led approach in a similar way that a surveyor would from the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors would take an approach, if they were acting on behalf of a bank. And that approach allows us to give you the data that is in the market, not just that sold for this, so it must be that. Let's look at your square footage. And again, to use another line, where I went to one the other day and it came out at 1.6 based on her estimate of 4,100 square feet. I don't think it is. I think it's 3,700 square feet at best, maybe less. And I said, look, if it is 4.1, this is the maximum it can go for. And when I wrote the market report in the proposal, I actually put that in there and said, look, the top end is at 4.1 is 1.6. I don't feel like this house is 1. I said that to her when I was in the meeting. I don't feel like it's 1.6. In my mind, I feel like it's 1.35 to 1.5. It's in that sort of range. And I actually feel the house is probably more like 3.7 than it is 4.1. So if we adjust and move that square footage back 400 and adjust for the figures on the spreadsheet that I put together, that brings us in about 1.465, I think it was. And she said, look, that feels about right. She goes, to be honest, she goes, I haven't even heard what you charge yet. But she goes, because she's a professor, and she was like, everything you've gone through and the detail and the level of data, like, it's completely different. She goes, I just want to say, this is great. The last agent I had in compared my house with another house in the village that was nothing like it. Didn't really know, and they were asking me what I thought it was worth. Hadn't presented anything on to me in terms of data and what things are achieving, etc. She goes, obviously I work with data for a living because this is what I do. I won't go into detail, but what she does is very data based. And I said, well, look, at the end of the day, I'm not here to value a house because I'm not buying it. Ultimately, it's how the market reacts to the value. But this is what the data tells us. And she was impressed, and she goes, well, I can see why you're double the fee of the other agent. She goes, the marketing that you do is great, which is one of the reasons we called you in. But she could just see from our conversation alone that I'm dealing with a professional. And I said, look, it's more not just about the data, but I also talked to her about where she wanted to buy, because she wanted to buy in a certain area, not in our patch. But what I said was, we can actually write to those houses on your behalf as well. So if you want me to try and help you find and source a property in a particular area, we can write on your behalf as well. So anyway, I think that caps that off nicely. Just before we cap off this week's pod, I think we should just have a quick chat about our mastermind that's happening next week. I'm looking forward to it. We've got a lot in. One of the things I'm excited about doing is the whole privately available off-market pre-marketing strategy for high-end homes, and it's a great opportunity to get people committed to coming on the market with you in all sort of stages of their journey. The kind of privately available, again, it's all about brand positioning as well, right? That how many high street corporate estate agents have homes that are, advertised as privately available? Having something on your website, and I know, Ian, we talked about an idea that I'm not going to discuss on this podcast about privately available properties, but these are all things that we're going to share with the group on the mastermind. Again, it's another way of positioning yourself and becoming a 2% agent. Michelle's doing a culture audit as well. So she's showing the room how to do a culture audit. I mean, I think Storeys is probably the gold standard for that, having experienced that myself. And I think a lot of that is attributed to Michelle. I think you've said that yourself, Ian, with the work that you've done with her directly. So that's something that our members are going to get a benefit from. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if you guys have got anything to add before we wrap up for the day. But if you are interested in becoming a TCA member or just finding out what it's all about, drop us a message and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. I know we've got a couple of spaces left next week at the mastermind. So if you're quick enough, you could actually get, on board before then to attend. And it's about a 10-minute walk from Manchester Piccadilly, where we have the mastermind. So it's accessible for everyone in the country. And we're always looking for new members, and we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks everyone for listening and bearing with us this week. It wasn't as good as last week with me and Sam, but we're getting there. And hopefully next week will be even better. So have a good week, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.